Hello, my friends. I'm Daniel Talley, the Note to Self Guy, and welcome to the channel. Now, some of you may be saying, hey, Note to Self Guy, where you been, man? You've been missing in action. Well, technically, I haven't been because I decided that I needed some vacation. So I decided to take a cruise. Look here, I really needed that vacation because I really needed to recharge my batteries. Now, while I was on that cruise ship, the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe Versus Wade, giving the states the power to ban abortion. Now, when that happened, that opened up Pandora's box, giving way to protests all across the country. In other words, the doodoo hit the fan. This is not a political channel, but I do realize that pro-choice and pro-life viewpoints is what people use to determine who they're going to vote for in our political process. As I said, this is not a political channel, but this situation right here is too huge for me to just let it slide by without offering any sort of commentary whatsoever. Opinions are like butt cracks, of which most people have. Now, I happen to have an opinion myself, which probably will surprise many of you. However, if you hang around to the end of the video, I'm going to share it with you. With that being said, I decided to interview a few people aboard the cruise ship to determine what their thoughts were regarding the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Well, here's what they had to say. Roll the tape. Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade, giving state governments the power to ban abortion. What are your thoughts on that?
I think as a woman it's very frightening for women all over the world that the United States has, the government has done this, because it's very important to have access to abortions for women, because some women are not fortunate enough or they don't have the capacity to raise a child, and that just leads to more children being put in foster care and being neglected, not being taken care of, which ultimately is just not good for anyone. And people are just going to find unsafe ways to have abortions, which is just puts all women in jeopardy. So it's very scary for everyone.
Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade, giving state governments the power to ban abortion. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the government shouldn't have control over what we do with our bodies, especially the bodies of women. We need to keep their noses out.
Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade, giving state governments the power to ban abortion. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's terrible, honestly. It takes away a lot of access to people that may need to have an abortion for many different reasons. And really it comes down to finances. There are still going to be states that legalize abortion, and people with the finances can't go to those states, but people who don't have the finances won't be able to.
Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade, giving state governments the power to ban abortion. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a bad decision, or that 9 people or a handful of people have to make a decision on a woman's life. All right, that's their life, and we shouldn't have nothing to do with it.
Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade, giving state governments the power to ban abortion. What are your thoughts on their decision?
I really think that was a bad decision. A woman should have her own choice of what she do with her body.
Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade, giving states governments the power to ban abortion. What are your thoughts on the decision?
For me, I really do think that every woman has the right to decide on what happens to her body. But to go a little further than that, what about the human that is inside her? That person needs to have the right to do what he or she wants to do with her body. So for me, if I was in that situation as being an infant inside of a parent, then I would want my mom to have me. To think about, if she had decided to do away with me, I would not be here. But thank God that she did.
Now, if you watched the video up to this point, thank you so much for sticking around. Now let me give you my 2 cents or my thoughts. As a Christian, it is perfectly clear. God is not in favor of killing. Remember the 6th commandment? Thou shalt not kill? I believe abortion is a sin like all others, and someday we will have to give an account for the things done in this life. I also believe that God has given us free will. In other words, He has given us the choice, the freedom to choose what we want to do. In other words, we're able to make our own decisions. But be advised, all the things that we do, all the decisions that we make, both good and bad, have consequences. I'm not a woman, nor will I ever be. However, I do play 1 or 2 on YouTube.
Oh, come on.
But seriously, as a man, what right do I have to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body? Heck, we can't even effectively mandate the COVID-19 vaccine. And did we have full compliance with wearing face masks during the pandemic? I don't think so. It's time to get personal for a minute. Let me tell you a true story. My parents were both 15 years old when they had me. Now, my mother could have very easily have decided to abort me in her womb. Now, to be honest with you, this was back in the 1960s. So a young teenage girl being pregnant was really frowned upon back then. So the pressure to abort me was real. But I am so thankful that my mother loved me enough to allow me to be born. If it were not for this divine act of love, I would have never have been here. Note to self, I didn't have an opportunity to talk to my mother. In fact, I didn't have an opportunity to tell her, Mom, I want to be born. Listen, as crazy as this world is, and Lord knows this world is crazy, I would have rather to have been born. Because you see, God has given each one of us a purpose, a mission in life. And if I had never been born, if I had been aborted, I would have never had an opportunity to exercise that mission that God has given me.
What are your thoughts on the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade? Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you.